Where do I begin? So this is going to be a video all about my journey with diabetes, with losing weight, with going a little deeper onto why I am so passionate about this journey this time around. Because there have been other times that I've been on the health journey, but why am I so passionate this time? Well, my name is Patrice, and this is The.Patrice.Denise, and I am on a health journey to conquer diabetes one day at a time, one step at a time, while also living life to the fullest. So, welcome if you have never been into one of my videos before, and welcome again if you have joined me before. But this video is a sit-down video on a little bit about my background with diabetes, with weight loss, with living a healthy lifestyle, and going just a little bit deeper. I was nervous to record this video because it causes me, or it has caused me, to just reflect on some of the not so good years, not so good habits, and it brought it to light. But I am so grateful that one of my viewers mentioned in one of my previous videos that she may have a similar journey as mine, or a similar background as mine. She says she's also a nurse, and she was interested in my background and how I came about to be diagnosed with diabetes, and just the journey a little bit deeper. So I am grateful that she asked about it, because it has helped me to just look at things a little bit differently with why I'm doing this. It helps me to reflect a little bit more. So thank you for asking for this video. So I hope this video touches others and helps motivate others and helps bring things to perspective for you guys. I thank you for your love and your support. But let's get right into it, because I can thank y'all all day long. So, where do I begin? Where do I begin? Well, I mean, in high school, I was not a large person. My stature was, thin. I didn't necessarily have any health concerns back then. I had my oldest daughter right out of high school, and not to blame pregnancy for the weight at all, because it didn't come during pregnancy. But as I began to live life, began to focus on my child as well as my career, because at that time I was in college. I was going for elementary education, and I began to focus into my college career and my work and working full time and taking care of a child. Life happened. So I did begin to put on weight, and because I wasn't focused on myself at that time. Let's just be honest. When life happens, if you're a mother, if you're a wife, I wasn't a wife then, but if you're a mother, if you're a family person, you begin to focus on those things, your career, your family, instead of yourself. So that's the beginning of when I began to focus on others more than myself. And that wasn't wrong. Nothing was wrong about that. But I did begin to put more focus into other things. And I had to eat on the run. So I had to eat fast food a lot. I had to, because I had to just do what I had to do to get by, working a full-time job and going to college and taking care of my child. And I'm saying all this because diabetes and weight, type 2 diabetes and weight go hand in hand. If you are a little larger, then you may be prone to have diabetes. And not to say that everyone who is larger has diabetes, but you may be prone to have diabetes. So I began to put on a little bit more weight. Now, fast forward about 10 years or so, 9 years or so, I did want to lose weight for my wedding. So I did lose a good bit of weight. And I got married in 2009. Shortly after I got married, I got pregnant again. And in the fall of 2009, during that pregnancy, I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes. Now looking back, I believe that I probably already had diabetes, type 2 diabetes, before being diagnosed with gestational diabetes, before even getting pregnant. because of my lifestyle. I can't say that's for sure because before my pregnancy, I was not tested for diabetes, but the lifestyle that I was living and just everything that was going on, I probably had type 2 diabetes before I was pregnant. But I was tested, with that glucose challenge test where you had to drink that sugary drink. So I was tested for gestational diabetes, or the risk of, and I definitely had gestational diabetes, because when you're being tested, the normal range of your glucose should go no higher than, I believe it's like 140 or something like that. And then as it creeps up higher than that, it gets to like 190. If it gets to 190, they say, yes, you have diabetes, gestational diabetes. Well, mine was 500. Mine was well into the 500. So that's why I say I probably had type 2 diabetes before being tested for gestational diabetes. So mine was 500. They was like, I'm not sure what's going on here. You need to go over to maternal, high risk maternal, because you are way above our league. So I had to leave my normal OBGYN's office and go to a more specialized high risk maternal medicine office. So I went there. I started on insulin during that because my sugar levels, my glucose levels were sky high. So I started on insulin, and I thought in my mind, this is just, at that time, this is just during pregnancy. I don't have to worry about it afterwards. So after I gave birth to my daughter, I did not follow up with the primary care provider. I did not follow up with that maternal fetal medicine, I believe, anymore after the 6 months that you're supposed to follow up with them. And life happened again. Life just kept going on. I didn't think that I had type 2 diabetes at that time because I was living life. I was naive. So life continued to go on. I did put on some pounds again because of life, because of just focusing on family, career, and everything else. That's why I'm preaching so much about focusing on yourself, not to be greedy to anybody else, but you have to pour into yourself before you can pour into others. You have to make sure that you're living a healthy lifestyle before you can take care of your family or make sure they are doing well, because if you're not focusing on yourself, how are you going to be able to show them the way or make sure that they're doing the right things if you're not doing it yourself? I digress again, but that's why I'm so passionate now about focusing on myself and focusing and having you focus on yourself, because I know back when I was living life and getting into my career and taking care of the kids and taking care of the family and got married and being a wife, I focused on those things rather than myself. So that's why I'm so passionate about focusing on you, focusing on me right now. So life happened. I did not check in or get with a primary care doctor during that time. I just continued to live life and thought there's no way I have type 2 diabetes. I knew my family had history of it and others around me had it, but not me. That was just gestational diabetes, not type 2 diabetes. So continue to live life. No A1C check, no follow-up, no nothing. In 2015, I got pregnant again, and in the early part of 2016, I told them already that I had gestational diabetes with my last child. So they went ahead and took did an A1C test, and my A1C at the beginning of 2016 was 6.8. So it was considered that I had type 2 diabetes. I was being followed closely for gestational diabetes during that pregnancy. Again, I was put on insulin just to make sure that my glucose levels did not, go sky high. So I continued on with that, and even after that, see, I'm not focusing on myself. Even after having my third child, I did not connect with a primary care provider immediately after. I just continued on living life, taking care of family and others, and focusing on my career again, and did not pour into myself. So I continued to live life, did not check in with a primary care provider, did not focus on me or get my health in check at all. I just kept on living like early 2019. I did connect with a primary care provider, and I love this primary care provider to this day, and I appreciate all that he does for me. So I connected with him. Of course, my A1C was out of whack. I can't remember what it was back then in 2019, but if we fast forward to 2020, I do have records of that. In 2020, my A1C was, this was January 2020, 9.6. I definitely was not focused on me because my A1C was 9.6. Normal ranges of A1C, and mine was 9.6. So I was in a little bit of trouble there, and I had to get it together. So he didn't put me on insulin, but he did start me on metformin and wanted me to change some lifestyle habits, and he did also put me on Farxiga. So I was on metformin, Farxiga, and Farxiga was not good for me. Farxiga, well, I would say this, with Farxiga, it causes you to urinate the glucose out. And if you urinate the glucose out and it's a lot of glucose coming out, you're prone to UTIs, or you're prone to yeast infections. So we switched, I think at that time, we started switching to like glipizide as well. But I wasn't changing my lifestyle, so it wasn't working. I was in denial yet again. And in October of 2020, that's when the light bulb clicked. And I was like, you gotta do something. You gotta do something. In October of 2020, my A1C was a 10. Now, let's stop there for a second, because I want to kind of give more of a background on my mental state during all of those previous years. So, before 2020 and back, while I was living life and not really focusing on myself, and I was gaining that weight, I was not happy with myself. I was happy with life and things like that, but the way I was looking, I was not happy. I was trying to find pictures to show you guys how I looked during, those, but pictures were really from here up. I would hide behind the camera, hide behind others, when taking pictures, not say, no, I'll take the picture, you go ahead, I'll take the picture, not really wanting to take pictures. And I didn't realize that until I started making this video, that you weren't happy, girl. You were not happy with how you looked, and I wasn't, and maybe that's why I focused importance to others more than myself, because I was like, I'm not happy with me, and let me just let them shine. And that's another reason why I'm so focused on and so passionate about this journey right now, because I want my children to know that they can and shine and have that confidence and be happy with themselves and not hide behind others, essentially. So that's another reason why I'm so passionate about this journey this time around, because I know that person back then, even though I love her now, I was not in love with her at that time. I was not in love with myself at that time. I'm in love with myself now. Let me tell y'all, I love me some me. But I was not in love with that person at that time. Like I said, I love her now, and I've learned so much from that previous person, that previous me. I wish I could go back in time and just give her a hug, but I was not in love with who I was at that time. And you have to, in order to focus on yourself, you have to learn to love yourself. So, fast forward back to 2020. I began at October. I said, you know what? It's time for me to do me. It's time for me to focus on Patrice. So I began a program, and it's called E2M. I won't go into much detail about that, but I began that health journey program. I also, it's a weight loss program, and I also began at that time taking Ozempic. So I was only on metformin and glipizide, whatever I felt like taking it. Another thing, I was not following doctor's orders at all. Wasn't focusing on myself. So I began Ozempic. So I got off of the metformin, because I basically took myself off of the metformin because that was just giving me GI issues. I got off of the metformin, got off of the glipizide, to a certain extent. I was taking glipizide here and there as needed if I saw that my blood sugar was rising, because that helps to lower your blood sugar. But I was on Ozempic. Started in October of 2020. I was on Ozempic. And now, looking back, Ozempic did help me lose a lot of weight. So I started at, I believe, I want to say it was 219, but I believe it was 215. That's the number I remember clearly. It was 215 in the end of 2020. By a year later, being still on Ozempic, I started on Ozempic. When I started on Ozempic, I was at the 0.25, and then I went up to the 0.5, and then essentially I was at the 1 milligram dose. So a year and a half, I was on the 1 milligram dose of Ozempic. From 2020 to 2021, I lost, I want to say, 25 pounds when I was on Ozempic. So my A1C began to fall all the way down. I started to love myself. I started taking pictures and falling in love with the person that I am now. And my A1C did go down with Ozempic. So, like I said, in October 2020, I was at a 10. By January, just changing my eating habits, starting to exercise, and on Ozempic as well. At that time, I couldn't have been on more than 0.5 because it was only like 2 months. From that time, my A1C went from a 10 to a 6.5. So you can't tell me that it can't be done, that you can't live a healthy lifestyle using the recommendations of your provider and changing your habits. So from a 10 to a 6.5 in 3 months. So I think at that time he wanted my A1C to continue to go down, so we did bump up to the 1 milligram. And April of 2021, at that time I started to go back. Now I saw the results, and that's another thing. I think what happened was I was doing different diets and different things trying to lose weight, and if I didn't see the results, I wasn't focused. And so that's another thing that we have to kind of pay attention to. Just because you're not seeing the results, don't stop, because the results are going to come. So in April of 2021, my A1C went to a 5.8. So it was 6.5 in January. It was now 5.8 in April of 2021. Continued to live this healthy lifestyle that I was living. My A1C continued to stay between 5.9, 5.8, 5.7 for the next year. At the end of 2022, my A1C was checked again, and I was 5.9. And at that time, that's when my doctor and I started talking. I wanted to increase Ozempic to 2 milligrams, and I wanted to lose a few more pounds. I was in the 180s at that time. So we increased the dose of my Ozempic to 2 milligrams. Then that's when the Ozempic shortage came about, and instead of I didn't have Ozempic for like 3 weeks, maybe it was a month. So I did gain weight during that time that I was off Ozempic. I probably gained about 5 pounds. So I was at 191 starting mounjaro, because at that time I asked my provider, well, Ozempic is out of stock everywhere, I can't find it, let's switch to mounjaro. And that's where we are today. So I started mounjaro at 191, and I am currently at 174. And my A1C, I'm not sure what it is, because the last A1C I had done was in November of 2022, and it was 5.9. But I'm pretty sure my A1C is lower than that now, just by me checking my blood sugars every day. If you haven't checked any of my other videos, I vlog my weeks and check my blood sugars daily, so check those other videos out. But the reason I'm doing this journey this time around, like I said, because like I said, I've done previous health journeys and weight loss journeys and tried to lose weight before, and tried to get my health under control before. This time around it's a little different, because I am focusing on me. I am making sure to make myself a priority. So if you're on a health journey, remember to focus on yourself. It's okay. I know you're a mother. I know you're a career person. I know you're a father. I know you're a friend. I know you're a family member. But if you don't make yourself a number one priority, then you're not going to give it your all in all. So learn to love yourself, learn to want more for yourself, learn to have that confidence. That's what it took for me. So fall in love with you and continue to push for you, continue to strive for you, because this is your life, this is your journey, this is your health. And in order for you to be able to take care of others and pour into others, you have to take care of yourself. As always, guys, I appreciate your love and support. I pray that this video has helped someone to gain perspective and understand my journey, and now understand their journey as well more and more. I pray your journey is successful and continues to be successful. I thank you for joining. I love you guys, and God bless.